Okay. That would be a bummer if I did this and completely forgot to record it for everybody after I told you I would record it. So, share screen. Okay, so welcome to Demo Day, basically, and the presentation. And so today, what we're really going to talk about is the purpose of Demo Day, your communication strategies to use at Demo Day, and then we'll do a brief section on public disclosure, what it is and why it matters, and leave some time open for Q&A. And then also, if you have specific questions, if you have stuff that you've already worked on, we can drop into individual breakout rooms and do a little workshopping if you don't want to do it in front of the whole group. So there should be enough of us by the end to be able to do that. So I'm Sarah, as I mentioned. My background is in science. I started out in biology and worked in pharma and clinical research for about 14 years, and then came back to CSU to get my graduate degrees in nutrition science. And now I work for CSU Ventures and am really happy to be part of getting to talk about and share science without having to sit at a bench and do it. So I will say that I didn't ever realize I would end up here, but it has been just a fantastic outcome. So, Demo Day, I left my grad show on there. Demo Day is a showcase of innovation. So what we hope that you will do is connect with other graduate students and faculty at CSU. You will learn about other disciplines. You'll gain conference experience that is different from what you would at a traditional academic conference. You'll do this by focusing on how to communicate the impact of your innovation. So really answering the key questions of who would benefit from your innovation, who would use your innovation, how would your innovation impact or change people's lives. Those three key questions are really what form the basis of what we want you to communicate. Along with how your innovation is better than whatever the current solution is. This year, we have over $20,000 in prizes, one for each college, and we do have representation from every college in the Innovation Showcase, as well as 5 or 6 specialty categories, such as virtual reality and software education. We have quite a few posters in education and programmatic design, and also design thinking. So that's great this year. The first thing we are going to discuss is that this year's Demo Day is virtual because we're still not allowed to be in person. And so that does change your submission somewhat from what you see in the picture. Obviously, when you're in person, you get traditional poster boards and you get to stand in front of your poster, and this year you are not going to be able to do that. So the changes that come up for those of you who went to the graduate showcase, they're the same things you did for the graduate showcase. You'll have a 30-second elevator pitch video, a 3-minute video, and then you'll upload your poster and attachments in the poster and attachments section. So that's how we are replicating your in-person delivery, is with the videos. And I really ask that for many of you that are joining us today, that you make sure that you do an appropriate thumbnail for your videos. So they can be a picture of you at the first slide in the video, or you can upload an image of your poster, or you can upload an image of whatever your innovation is. For those of you who have widgets, it might be a picture of whatever you've built or developed. For those of you who might be a service organization, it might be a picture of whatever the service is, that sort of thing. That would be awesome. So previous resources that you might have had with the grad show, or for those of you who are out of health and human sciences and did this for the health and human sciences research day, they provided a template. Because we are doing more of an infographic, or what we would like is an infographic style poster, we are not requiring you to use a template. We are truly only requiring that whatever it is that you choose to use, so that it fits in a landscape orientation and is easy for the judges and consistent, is that you make it 36 by 48 inches, which is your normal 3 feet by 4 feet academic poster in a landscape position. The virtual site came open this morning. So it actually came open yesterday and I double checked everything. So hopefully it's all working correctly. And it is at demoday.csu, innovates.org. So you should have received an email from me just a short while ago that had the instructions for how we want you to create your account and build your profile. And please follow those. That would be great. Otherwise, I will get to follow up with you individually to have you edit content. So again, 30-second introduction video, which is really the highlight, right? Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a third-year PhD student in food science and human nutrition. I'm working in Laura Bella's lab on maternal health matters and preschool children's health and the types of foods they have in their home. Whatever your catchy title is, right? Like that's your 30-second intro. There was great success with the presenters on the grad show website, and so you can watch any of their videos. They did a really nice job of showing how to engage for that 30 seconds, and some of them would say, please click the learn more button, which was above their head on the video to get to their 3-minute materials. So you do also have an option for those of you that it applies to. It is not required, but should you be able to demonstrate your innovation in any particular way, you are welcome to upload a video of that demonstration. So, or your innovation in action. You're absolutely welcome to do that. We just ask that you keep that to less than 5 minutes. It is not required. It is not necessarily something the judges will use. It doesn't show up in the rubric, but it is there for you to engage with your audience if you would like to do it. Do you guys have any questions about that sort of general content? You're welcome to unmute and just ask them, or you can, I can't see the chat while I'm presenting and sharing my screen. So if you've put something in the chat, I won't know. Okay. Okay. So if you have not recently watched a short, like a 3-minute pitch, you can go to TED. TED Talks have great resources for sort of how to make a great presentation in a short amount of time. And that is on the slide, that link.
Sarah, there was one question in the chat about how many presentations there will be. And I think we had, what, about 81 or 82 accepted?
We have 82. So if everybody shows up, we have 82 poster presentations. There will also be a row of a few startups that are affiliated with CSU. I'm working on those at the moment as well. And a row of service organizations that support graduate students and faculty innovation. The grad school will have a virtual booth, I guess, if you want to call it that. You actually each all in the same vein have your own booth as if you went to a trade show. So yeah, so around 82 will be competing for the 15 or so awards. So anything else, Steve? Is that the only question?
Quick question, Sarah. How does it work? We're gonna have our own booth. Does that mean like
Well,
we have Zoom?
right? So your presentation, your submission slot is sort of like a booth in reality, because you have your own spot to put your poster, you have the 2 videos, and it all sits in this digital component. And then if you have the opportunity, we're always very space limited when we're at the LSC. And for those of you who have gone to Demo Day before, we normally have tables where you can actually demonstrate your, if you have a widget, something you have built, if there's something you can physically showcase in your innovation. And so we normally have tables around the edge of the room that are set up as demonstration areas. In the digital format, we can't do that, but we are allowing that extra up to 5-minute video to demonstrate your service, which could showcase software running. It could showcase what you might see in a VR headset. It could actually be the widget working in whatever way it might work. It could, if it's a service, it could be you demonstrating how the service works on top of you really talking about the impact that you would do in the 3-minute video. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is John Heisel with Health Human Sciences grad student. So is there a synchronous component to this presentation? Like, is there any time that we're going to be presenting? It's all digital.
No,
I saw there's 3 days of demo days. So I was just wondering, that'll be different presentations from speakers, but
there will
we're
be that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're considering the platform itself to be fully static, right? So you get the materials uploaded, everybody gets to virtually walk around and check out everybody else's materials, engage with the other presenters. There is an internal messaging system, so you all can take advantage of that and message each other back and forth. The only live events we have are the seminars that are on the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th. And then our awards session will also be a live Zoom event that we will record and put up at the end also. All of these can be recorded. And so those will be the only live events. If we may do I have it set for everybody to take the time to be on the platform at the same time, so that the messaging system turns more into an instant messaging system instead of a bright delayed email system that we're hoping you will do as sort of a synchronous version, but it's still not completely synchronous. So did that answer your question, John?
Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome. So the implication for Demo Day, right, is that you have a poster that's uploaded, static, and your poster, hopefully you will utilize it to answer the 4 questions that are in the rubric, and were also the 4 questions we asked you in the abstract. What is the problem? What is your solution? Why is it better than current solutions? And who would use it? What impact would it make in society? If you can, use as many visuals as possible. We prefer fewer words and more visuals, so that it's more of an engaging infographic and less of a traditional academic poster. You use your pitch. Oh, did I get a question? Nope. Okay. So you will use your pitch as your high-level summary to engage the audience, right? What is your hook? Why should people care? You should be integral to the purpose of what you're doing. If everything you say is on your poster, I could have just read your poster, which is one reason why you want your poster to support what you're going to say in your pitch. You want it to provide also sort of an overview, but you do want to be important as the presenter in engaging with the camera that you'll be staring into as you record your pitch. And really, this is your chance to be excited about what you're presenting, to share that enthusiasm for why you think your work is important.
But Sarah,
yeah.
let me pop in. Enthusiasm does not mean talking super fast so you get all every word you want to get in every 3 minutes. That was a critique I had of some students at the grad show in November. So please be sure to rehearse both your 30-second intro and your 3-minute full talk, because there were some students who got cut off. And if you don't rehearse and practice, it's likely you will not have enough time. Read from notes or whatever it takes, have an outline, because otherwise you will not finish. It's very challenging.
It is. So some of you, some of the presenters at Demo Day did the 3-minute thesis competition for the VPR Fellows group. If you want additional, really sort of interesting content for how you address why your research is important in a 3-minute video, we can put up a link to the VPR videos. They're actually quite good and across a wide variety of disciplines. And they only get one slide, which in essence is sort of like your poster. And they have to talk in 3 minutes about why their research is important, and not, like as Steve mentioned, not talk so fast that they're trying to fit everything in like this as fast as they can absolutely do it and not leave anything out. It's very hard to listen to that for 3 minutes and not miss it. And so the other thing that you should keep in mind is, for us, this is not about research. It's while it is about research in terms of the innovative portion of it, it's not about your methods of how you did the research. It's not about the amount of data you have collected and all of the people you have collected it from, and the demographics and breakdown of your populations. It's really about the innovation and why it matters and who it impacts. So feel free to sort of take your time. For those of you who write grants or have been writing grants, this is the significance section. Your entire poster is basically the significance section. Why convincing somebody why they should give you $1 million to do the research. So there are different communication strategies. I'll just run through them. Hopefully some of you will find these kind of humorous. From a visual communication standpoint, right? This is a beautifully colorful graph on the top. I personally could not tell you what it means whatsoever at all, other than there's some really gorgeous blue spikes and some green spikes as well. So right, this communicates to me, if I'm not in your discipline, that you collected a boatload of data. And you thought all of that data was important instead of using Excel to make a couple lines to give me the overall impact. It could also be that you're early enough in your research that you don't actually know how to talk about it. The data that you've collected, you haven't quite figured out how to talk about that yet. Or that you like lots of pretty colors, or I have so much data that what rabbit hole can I entice you as the judge or you as the individual talking to me to go down, because we're really only going to talk in depth about one component of my research. So think about that as you go to craft content to go on your poster. Do you need to show us really intricate data, or is there a way to simplify it so that it's pretty self-explanatory? Additionally, you can see these two different concepts, right? On the left, I'm communicating, I research really complex ideas. Or, which is one of my favorites, and I have seen this happen before, right? My advisor uses this picture on their presentations, and so I'm including it on mine, but I don't know how to talk about it yet. Or what can come across as insulting to the judges and to others. you won't be able to understand it anyway, so I just put it all up here. So none of those three items do you want to communicate to the audience. Rather, on the right, this is a very, very simple poster, and it is so simple that I actually find it remarkable that a student was able to get it into a conference. It is definitely different than what we see from most academic posters, right? But you basically get 15 seconds. What does anther color vary? Why does the anther color vary in a trout lily? And apparently it's ecologically neutral. There's no reason for the variation, no driving reason for it. So I knew everything I needed to know about the beginning, the why. We did this research and what we found out in under 15 seconds. So that's actually a really great sort of idea along the poster. And it's very simple, 4 charts, even colors, right? Not too many colors. The important things you need to know are in bold. Here's another set of communicating. We do get this a lot as well on the left-hand side, right? I published a paper. I'm going to put it on my poster. I know a lot of specific jargon from my discipline, and I would ask you not to include jargon from your discipline. We have, oh my goodness, we have probably 20 industry judges from places like Lockheed and HP and Nutrien, Leprino, some law firms, the USPTO. And so these are folks that may not be really well versed in your discipline. And so if you can avoid using the most technical terms, that would be likely much appreciated by the judges, and you will communicate at the higher level. Because remember, this is not about rabbit holes. It's about communicating impact. And so that is a really good point. The one really good thing about the poster on the left, as you're looking at it, is they use some pretty detailed images. So you do get a visual idea of what their research was about, what their content was about, without having to read all the words, although there are still quite a few words on that poster. On the flip side of that, on the right-hand side, the collective engagement poster still has a lot of words on it, but it does use colors to color code the content. It uses some graphics to make a point. There are percentage numbers in there instead of scientific charts, that we have to know the labeling of the axes to understand what's going on in a scientific graph or chart. So those are two very different poster content. And I would really say the one on the right is closer to an infographic and what we are looking for at Demo Day than the one on the left. These two are two of my favorites. They're incredibly hard to read. They are also really, really funny. So the key is whether or not you also want to communicate while being fun, that you are still taking the event seriously. The one on the left is, if you can read this, you must be nocturnal. It's really, really hard to read. And obviously everybody who shows up at a conference is not nocturnal with night vision. So that's probably not the best way to communicate your innovation. The one on the right is a joke poster off the internet, and it's basically a what you should not do, which is about weight gain in hamsters in space. And if you ever find it, it is actually really funny to read. But again, right, Star Wars, a hamster on a scale or a guinea pig on a scale. If that's what Cavia porcellus is, might be a guinea pig, right? So that's a component of language, vocabulary from your specific discipline. It would be a lot easier to say effective zero gravity and feeding without it being at will feeding on the weight gain in guinea pigs instead of Cavia porcellus. So,
Hey, Sarah, let me just add real quick that remember that everybody, all the judges, everybody who's looking at your poster are looking at this on a computer screen. So I have a Microsoft Surface, which is a very small screen. Some of you might have a Mac, some might have other type, a Dell or whatever. And if you're trying to fit a 3-foot by 4-foot screen or a poster on a screen that's maybe 13 to 15 inches diagonally, everything is shrunk. Will you be able to zoom in? Sure. However, if it takes you a ton of time to move the poster around to read everything, it's going to be, for me, a little bit disheartening, and I'm probably going to go through it very quickly instead of spending more time on it. So that's just another factor in having a virtual poster session versus where you might have a real 3-foot by 4-foot poster.
right. And Steve, that is actually, and we didn't do introductions at the beginning, but Steve, the gentleman who is talking, is one of our licensing directors at CSU Ventures. And so he helps put on the event and also in years past has been a judge as well. And so that's why he's also jumping in. But the other component of this that you may not realize is this site is optimized to be used on a cell phone. So now think about your poster. If you were to put 4 columns of content on it, like in the poster on the left, the nocturnal poster, and it's all text, that is really hard to digest on your cell phone. And judges are allowed to judge from their cell phones, from any component of technology that they're choosing to use. So I would just be judicious in how you choose to set up your poster and then the amount of information you want to communicate, which is the beauty of your 2 videos, because you can add more discussion into those 2 videos than you can fit on your poster. So this one is one of my favorite posters. It has very few words. It has some great graphs. They're well described and labeled, figure 4, figure 5, figure 1, but it tells you what it is. It gives you visual images, pictures as well of what's going on for large scale of the turbine blades. And so there's not a whole lot of content on there that you have to explain. Right. And so your pitch becomes even more important. The way you talk about your research, how engaged you are in your research, why you think it's important, really allows you to go into explaining some of the components that are on your poster without re-explaining, right? You don't want to repeat your poster. You want to add to it. They should complement each other.
Hey, Sarah, quick question. You mentioned it needs to be displayable on a phone. So does that mean accessibility is a criteria for judging these posters? And if so, does that mean that my poster needs to be like usable with a screen reader, or can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because
we have not mastered the accessibility component. I think if we were trying to do that, we would all be putting these in YouTube, where you can also get transcripts off of all of the videos. So it's just think about it more in terms of your peers may be going through and being on the platform and doing it on their phone. I use my phone a lot to look through the content on the platform and send messages and answer messages. And so it's really just more a matter of not treating it like a research paper because it's going to lay out and you're going to have to scroll, right, move it across your phone, move it up and down on your phone, those sorts of pieces. So just that way, really.
Yeah, and just to chime in on that, like I'm a graphic designer and designing for a 36 by 48 or whatever inch poster versus designing for a like 2 by 3 inch phone is totally different
They
like
are.
mediums. No, I don't think you can do both at the
No,
same time. I don't, yeah, that
so
just,
right, the key for us is that you, like this particular poster that I have up now has fewer words.
Yes, hi, I'm here.
It's regular sized columns. You're sort of not, you're not jumping across in strange directions to go from one piece of information to the next piece of information. So you can still navigate the poster reasonably well and move it around on your phone in sort of a consistent way to get good blocks of information. If I go backwards, right, and you're talking about trying to do this pigs in space poster, everything's chunked into different size components. So, right, to read this conclusions that's running 3/4 of the way across the page, to read the sentence, you have to scroll this way, but then over here, you might just have to scroll down. And so you're making the person work harder to get to the content in a way that they would not if they could see the whole page at a time. That's really all I mean about that.
thanks.
Yeah. So the other thing, right, that you don't want to have, I love it, you want your poster to be consistent. You really do not want the judges to be doing this, right? Bad poster bingo, right? Comic Sans, it's on here twice because it is really annoying. 3D graphs, text with shadows, and I can't even read that on here, outlines, right? Where it's really challenging to read, more than 5 colors. We do not need you to put your abstract on the poster. Please don't put the abstract on the poster. The objects almost touching or overlapping or really tiny font, right? We want you to design it as a normal few words on your poster, 32-inch font. We really just wanted the 36 by 48 inches because in the future, if somebody wanted to print their poster, you'd be in the normal poster size. Not in an 8 by 10, like a piece of paper size, which doesn't always scale up or down well. So what you really want judges to be doing is this, right? This is the rubric for demo day. And you want them to say, yes, they identified and explained the problem. Yes, they identified an innovative solution, right? The components of that solution are clear. They have either discussed it in their pitch or they have put it on the poster. They have a commercial target population, which we say commercial, but what we really mean, you've identified the people who will use your solution, whatever that happens to be. Whether they pay for it or not is irrelevant in terms of commerce, but there is somebody who will use it. And you've identified that. Your poster was easy to follow and understand and not filled with high level scientific jargon for people outside of your discipline to not understand what you're talking about. Those types of comments, we want the judges to be able to take your poster seriously. So audience engagement, this is really different in a digital environment, right? You actually don't even have to talk to people, but you should respond to their messages. So, right, in person, it's much easier to get to know people, to ask questions, to talk to them about why they stopped, what interests them. On the digital platform, you are likely going to just be responding to a question they've typed into the messaging system. And so the way you're going to engage your audience virtually is, as Steve mentioned earlier, you need to practice. So you have a 3-minute video, actually record it, watch it, and if you don't like it, repeat it until you feel that it's comfortable. And I'm not saying do this for 6 or 7 hours. That is definitely not the point, but take a reasonable amount of time to determine if you're talking too quickly, if you've covered the points that you want. You can have somebody else watch it and give you some feedback. You can you have all this time to record and upload and you can upload something and decide you're going to change it the next day and delete it and upload the new thing. So definitely take your time and practice. I would also suggest that because you're being recorded, right? Smile, dress professionally, or at least professionally for whatever it is that you are presenting. You do not have to stand in your house to do this presentation. If there is an on location spot where you're demonstrating, say you have a test solar panel out in a field, you can go record your presentation from where the solar panel is, if you would like to do that, right? If it's a certain way of handling livestock and you want to record a demonstration video of you handling the livestock or whatever that happens to be, obviously dress appropriately for that component of engagement. And look at the camera, right? I could have done this entire presentation with you, and I could have looked at any of my other screens so that I would know what was going on. So make effort to look at the camera, and which makes the person watching feel like you're actually looking at them in the eye. So that's a very important thing to remember.
On that note, Sarah, actually, there's a question that just happened in the chat. Alicia is asking, is it okay to have a video with slides instead of showing them just talking?
Absolutely. You can craft your presentation any way that you want. You can just show your poster and talk about the different components of your poster. You can put together 5 slides in a PowerPoint and go through the slides. You could show like a 15-second video in the middle of your presentation that you might want somebody to watch. You can do any of those pieces. You can talk to the camera like I am talking to the camera. Again, I would encourage you, all of those different things, Alicia, were done at the grad show. And so I would encourage each of you to take maybe 20 or 30 minutes and sort of just go scroll through the grad show content. It's still up, it's still available for you to look at, and see which ones you think look more professional and which ones grab your attention better. And they're very different. And it's pretty telling which ones were engaging and which ones were not. So, and we can drop that if you want. I can drop that into the chat, or Yusuf, if you want to drop it into the chat. It's I'll
drop the
org.
Oh, actually,
Yeah, it's
I
just
think
my
John might have already done that.
Yeah. So, secrets to success. We're almost to the end of this particular part and into public disclosure, but right, a glance at your poster should convey the idea to the general public. Your visuals, hopefully all of you know that your visuals should be clearly labeled. They should be understandable. There should not be a picture that does not have a caption of some sort. We should know, it should be obvious what the image is. Your pitch should show your interest and your excitement, your enthusiasm for the outcomes of your innovation. That is how you engage the judges. You also should engage with each other. It is your opportunity to learn what's going on campus that's innovative, that's different, that's applied, that has some defined value or impact in a tangible way in society. And so we have found some amazing collaborations happen when the students and faculty and the presenters all sort of just go around and look at each other's work. We've definitely had some new collaborations come out of Demo Day. And also realize, right, we're all learning, myself included. Celebrate your accomplishment and others' accomplishment for just simply taking the risk to participate. It's a new and different world, and to do this virtually is very, very different. So we thank all of you for taking that time to come out and join us at Demo Day. Celebrate with your peers. So, do you guys have any questions? That's sort of the end of the sort of poster pitch component of it. We're going to talk a little bit about why it's important for you to disclose your innovation and protect it for about another 5 minutes, and then we can definitely go into breakout rooms, or you can ask really specific questions about your research. Do you have any questions in general about the poster session?
I have a quick one. I was just looking at the Demo Day website, and it shows that everything needs to be on the platform by April 15th. Is that date accurate? We need it all in like 10 days before the presentation days?
Well, the judges are going to judge the week of the 20th. So to give folks time, we go through and quality assure everything. I will go through and do that and make sure that if you have put something on the platform that we might want protected, or that you might want protected, or you're missing something in your submission before the judges come on, that gives me enough days to go do quality assurance to make sure everybody got their content in, as well as sometimes there are some technology quirks. So yes, we would like things up by April 15th. If you have a distinct problem with meeting that deadline, I'm happy to have that conversation separately.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah. So why do we, CSU Ventures, the tech transfer office for the CSU system, give this presentation? And it's because we are actually tasked legally with protecting all CSU owned intellectual property. So that means when somebody comes up with a great idea or an invention that is federally funded, or is done as part of your research, and you are paid by your professor for as a GTA or a GRA, and that innovation is part of your research, or it's part of your role at CSU as an employee. CSU owns that intellectual property, and we are by law required to make a good faith effort to protect it. And so our goal is to minimize problematic public disclosures of this information that make it impossible to protect it. And so what we're really talking about are new ideas, right? So public disclosure in a real sense, if you have an intellectual property that can be patented, it completely kills the ability to patent it. If you tell others about it, and you tell them about it in a way that allows them to make it, that's what we consider public disclosure. That really, really makes it impossible for us to patent it. So the key is that it has to be enabling, right? So it's this sort of how-to concept. You can talk about your innovation as much as you want, so long as you do not give somebody in the public enough information that they can go out and practice it, that they can recreate it, that they are now enabled to have the same innovative idea. So at universities, typical public disclosure, right, is the grad show. And I'm sure some of you, I don't know if you're on this call or not, but some of you were contacted during the graduate show based on your abstracts to discuss more if you had additional intellectual property that might need to be protected before you presented at the grad show. Demo Day is another type of conference where that can become problematic. Publications and articles, open meetings and workshops, seminars, all of those are typical academic activities that can create a public disclosure problem. It does not mean that you can't do these things. It just means that we need to put protection in place prior to doing these things and sharing the ingredient list or the molecular structure or the code for your software program or a very specific method for how you generate a particular application. So
there's a question that says, is Demo Day intended for CSU owned IP projects? I'd say it's really a celebration of anything innovative that is in essence solving a problem. Not everything we get will come through our office, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
But it's really about, what are folks at CSU doing that are solving problems is really what it comes down to.
Mhm. Yeah, so it is definitely, it is both intended for CSU owned IP because we like to celebrate what the university accomplishes as an institution, as well as for non-CSU owned intellectual property, things that come up regularly. So basically, most things that come out of the College of Business do not fall under CSU owned IP because most of those students for their own education. So they're not on CSU payroll and not on federal grants. And so lots of entrepreneurship, startups, there are things that faculty do that are not CSU owned IP. There are ideas that students come up with that they do on their own time, not part of their research. And we just really, really want to celebrate all innovation that we can bring to the table to showcase just really, truly how spectacular CSU is at solving problems. So.
Hey, Sarah, if I could ask a quick question about the public disclosure, could you give us an example of maybe a project in the past that the presenter gave too much information and it caused this to happen? Like, it's kind of a new concept for me. I'm just curious, like what that would look like. Or
okay, I mean, I could give you Steve, do you have any specific examples?
I could probably go back over the last couple of years and try. It would be 2 years ago now for Demo Day because we didn't have this last year. But quite often I get emails from faculty or grad students saying, hey, we just went to a conference and published a poster or gave a talk, or we put a manuscript, pre-peer reviewed manuscript on one of the sites like the chem or bio repositories now that are out there. And then they come talk to us. So the problem with that is that's not it's patent law, which becomes the issue. So it's kind of like why if you're writing a dissertation and you're also trying to publish a paper, why you can't publish your dissertation or put it in the library prior to publication of paper. Same type of thing, because once it comes in the public domain, it's no longer considered novel. And so, and I will offer this to anybody that is presenting. If you want to have a conversation and have me, or I'm sure Jillian and Mandana and Jess Trostel, who are on the call today, we would be happy to take a look at your draft poster before you submit it and kind of take a look and see, is this something that either needs to be scrubbed of any potential information that could be enabling, where you're teaching the reader what exactly you're doing, or we can file what's called a provisional patent with the US Patent Office prior to you publishing. And that either way will help alleviate things. I don't know if anybody else from our office has any examples of things. I know I've seen papers that have been pre-published or pre-peer reviewed that we then receive in our office. So that would that help you?
yeah, that's great. Thanks for explaining. I'm just trying to like relate that to this. I mean, it sounds like it's like if I had an innovation to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like I would maybe show the production of it and not list the actual ingredients.
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah.
So I kind of, my joke about it is that show the sausage, but not how the sausage is made. Like there's the end product. Or a lot of people will show data, but not how they gathered the data. Or you've got a new drug and you can say, oh, somebody with melanoma was cured of melanoma, but it doesn't show the mechanism of action of the actual drug itself.
Or the structure.
The
Or the
structure.
structure. Absolutely. And there's also a question in the from Joshua Hicks about you have 1 year of patent eligibility when publicly disclosed. There is a caveat to that, Joshua. So that's in the US only. If you publicly disclose, you do have a year where you can still file, but that is not the case outside the US. Once you've publicly disclosed and you have not properly filed a patent application, you are in all likelihood have lost your opportunity to patent something outside the US. So that's why we're, most nice innovations, the market is not generally limited to the US. And so we want to ensure that we have an opportunity to protect an innovation, not only in the US, but ex-US as well.
Did that answer your question, Joshua? Oh, I guess it was really just a statement. Yes. So, and John, yeah, so not knowing exactly, not having it in front of me what the poster content might be, it is really about not clearly disclosing your innovation, or the method or process or the novel molecule, right? Schematic of how to do it. So, and that's how you avoid it. And you can definitely, like I've been harping on results, right? How you showcase results, how you put them on your poster. You can absolutely, like what you see in this sort of picture, you can showcase your results, but don't showcase every intense detail of your results. If you're going to put results on your poster, put them on your poster in a way that is understandable by people not in your discipline. And make sure they're appropriately labeled. So these are the folks on the call today. Steve Foster is right here. Oh, I bet you guys have all been seeing the chat box. Did you see the chat box in the middle of the screen and nobody said anything? No? Okay. The chat box was in the middle of my share screen. So I was like, oh my goodness, if you saw that. Steve Foster is our licensing director and deals in the life sciences. Jillian has the gray background. She does all things ag related. And if Jillian is still on, she might, if you do more than ag, Jillian, let me know. And Mandana, who is on the far left side, is basically all things engineering and software. And so, right, show your outcomes, show your actual innovation, but not the specifics of your innovation. And you can talk to us at any time should you have questions about that. If you're curious about how to disclose your intellectual property, you can go to our website under inventors, and we have an inventor portal with instructions there. And that's it. That is everything. So you guys are all up for questions. If you have them, or if you want to ask specific questions about your research and how you might talk about it, we can easily do that. 100%.
So thank you very much, Doctor, for the presentation. That was very helpful. I know that this question was asked before, but I wanna ask it one more time to make sure that I understand that correctly, because I was in contact with some of the team members that you've just showed them in the previous slide about my project. So the project I am working on, first of all, my name is Mo. I'm with I'm a PhD student in the systems engineering department. And the project I'm working on, the intellectual property is not CSU intellectual property. It's
Oh, Mo,
my own project. And I'm sorry?
You
Oh, I was
froze.
wondering if Mandana might be able to pipe in because I'm guessing you probably worked with her since you're in systems engineering.
Right. Sorry. Right. Yeah. So, and I believe you presented your technology in the grad student showcase as well.
That's correct. I in the student showcase, I won I won the innovation award, and I
Right.
actually 2 weeks ago I was offered the VP for research graduate student fellowship, but after I received the invitation, I told I'm a resident of California, and I was informed that okay, you're ineligible for the fellowship because you're a resident of California. So I just want to make sure that I'm not gonna waste your time or my time, and I want to make sure that I'll be in the right place. So this project is my own project. This is not a CSU IP. So am I eligible to participate?
Yes, because you are affiliated with systems engineering at CSU. Yes, 100%. Whether we have access to the intellectual property, or it's your intellectual property, or it's even another university's intellectual property through a collaboration, it's the innovation and the fact that you as the presenter are affiliated with CSU that makes you eligible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mo. Does anybody else have any questions? This is your chance. I mean, I'm on call for you guys, except between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. I'm not on call then. But
Sarah, sorry. Also, I see a couple of names that I've already emailed them and asked them for submitted invention disclosure. So if you have any question, just contact me directly. We can discuss your technology and decide if you are needed to submit an invention disclosure or not.
excellent.
If you don't know who to contact, you can contact Sarah. You can send it to info@csuventures.org. You can go to our website. You know, you're all pretty smart people because you're in graduate school. So but if you have any questions, the info@csuventures.org is easy, and we will get it to the right person.
Yes, and if you send it to me and ask me questions, I send you to the person who would be able to answer your questions. So that also works. And I recognize many of your names. So thank you so much for submitting innovations and being part of Demo Day.
I have a question, and I'm going to apologize in advance to everybody in the room. I am new with posters. I am new with all of this stuff. As I develop content over the next week, am I able to share that with you, Sarah, and get some feedback since this is so brand new to me?
Yes, you are welcome. I do not judge. So while I manage our judges, I provide sort of the educational outreach and support for many of you. So I am happy to answer your questions and review some of your content. I will not review it over and over and over again, but I will help you get on the right track or review it a couple of times and give you some reasonable feedback. As well as our licensing directors are not going to be judging this year. So Jillian, Mandana, and Steve, if you have if you are going to be working with them on an invention disclosure or something to that effect, or they've contacted you, they will also provide review. So will Jessica Trostel. So there are enough of us in the office that we can provide some support. This year, it's one of the first years ever we have numerous industry judges. So if you win the software award, you will have won it based on people who are familiar with software and in software disciplines will have judged that your software was really truly innovative. So that will carry a different weight, I think, than we had a bunch of non-software people judge the Software Innovation Award. So, right, yeah. It should be
Yeah,
really-
that's really helpful. Thank you. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is just making sure that I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
And not totally in left field thinking I'm where I need to be. So
Yes, and no worries, AIM. We do that for everyone, actually, because most PhD students and second year master students, you all are being trained to present at an academic conference. And so there was one, it was a beautiful academic poster. It was the one with the pictures in the middle of the wound on the arm. That's what you're being trained to do. And this is different. No matter what, it is very different than what your faculty members typically would train you to do. So we do expect lots of people to have questions. And you are welcome to send us your content. Absolutely. So
great. Thank you.
welcome. So that is it. You guys are free to stay and ask other questions, or we're all done. So feel free to, I don't have any more content to share with you.
Hey, one other question, Dr. Sarah. Sorry if this has been covered in emails or whatever, but I'm just curious more about the assessment criteria or whatever. Is there like a rubric on how the poster and the 2 videos are going to be assessed?
Yes.
We could see.
Yeah, it's in the top of
And-
the chat. If you click on chats on the bottom of your screen, if you go over, it should show up the chat at the very top. It's the very first one. It says guidelines and rubric for demo day.
And let me see. And John, it is, I think I had it up earlier, but I didn't stay on it very long. It's actually, this is the rubric. The difference for demo day is that the values that are assigned, fair slightly actually has a value of 1 or 2, and average has a value of 3 or 4. There might actually, there's the actually poorly done has a value of 1 or 2, and then fair slightly has a 2 or a 3. So it ends up being a 10-point scale instead of a 4-point scale, but the questions themselves are exactly the same.
Great. Sorry, I think I joined like 2 minutes late, so it's not in my chat. Is that
Oh,
possible to
we can
post that in there again?
drop it in there. Is Yusuf still on? He's really good at copying it back over.
Just got it. Just got it copied back in there.
And just so you all know, we have ambassadors. Several of them are on the call today. You are also always welcome to reach out to any of the ambassadors. Yusuf Farah is the one who's been posting in the chat. Melissa _ CSU Ventures, Melissa Schenkel, is also an ambassador. Kate McMahon is an ambassador. Who am I missing? Is that everybody? And so they function to help represent the office, do outreach as well, talk to people about innovation. And so they're also great to ask questions of. They're also on our website. If you go to csuventures.org, you can find them. So yeah, and John, if you come up with additional questions, feel free to email. So, okay.
Thanks. It was great.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah. Thank you very much, everyone.
You're welcome, Mo. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Is everybody gonna drop off? Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
thanks, Sarah. I think you're good.
I'm gonna stop the recording and we will.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you guys.
Good
And it was,
weekend.
I really appreciate you coming. So have a great day and happy weekend.
Thank you very much. You too, Dr. Sarah.
Bye.
Happy weekend.